Welcome, peeps. Hope everyone is well and enjoying this lovely Thursday afternoon. First of all, before we get started, welcome to the finished article, another episode on all things Sky Blues. And before we get into it, I just want to wish everybody watching happy Eid Mubarak and hope everyone had a good Ramadan. But without further ado, let me bring my homeboy and the host of today's show, Richard Holman. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate.
Nice. Good to have you back on board. We're back with all things Sky Blues. And before we kick off, see this beautiful ticker at the bottom. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment. As always, without your support, we wouldn't be where we are today. So you know what? Let's get straight into it. So we've got a number of topics. So I'm going to go straight into it. Millwall review the last game of the season. Coventry City beat Millwall 6-1. In fact, you know what? Coventry actually won 7-0 because we actually scored their goal for them. McFadzean with an unfortunate touch, but you know what? It is what it is. So, Rich, let's kick off with your thoughts on the game.
Well, we thrashed them, didn't we? Thrashed them. That's all we can say. No, we should have scored. We could have had more. We could have had. Millwall weren't great. I think they looked like they were already on the holidays, to be fair. But we can only beat what's in front of them, and how long have we been saying we're due to give somebody a hiding?
I'm glad you mentioned that because we've been saying that all season. We said we're going to do it. And you know what? Finally, I think, you know what, the guys watched our last podcast where we were covering the top scorers, and they decided, especially Callum O'Hare, geez, I love the guy, man. Loved his goal. You know what? Dom Hyam getting a goal, McFadzean getting a goal. Oh, wow. Man could do everything. And then obviously he had to top it off with Tyler Walker's freakish goal, if you like. It coming off the area, but absolutely good to get that going. But you know what? Moving on, great way to end the season, and I think it'll be a good run in to see how we perform in preseason going forward. But let's go into it. So, Rich, I'm going to move it on to the retained and released list. So that got released yesterday. I don't know if you want to go through it or cover anything of your thoughts.
Happy with who we've offered new contracts to.
Yeah.
And the player, no real surprises of who's gone. We were expecting Bakker to go. Some of the young lads have gone. Morgan Williams has gone, and he's a player I don't think I've ever seen him play because most of his appearances have been in the Checkatrade Trophy. But he's actually captained us in games in that competition.
He has indeed. So I'm just sharing up the list. I don't know if you can see that. So top of the list, we've got Max Biamu hasn't been offered a contract.
Yeah, that's one that splits the opinions.
Amadou Bakayoko was the other. I think he was always expected to leave. You've got Dan Bartlett and Jordan Young. I never really saw them play much. Joe Newton, Jordan Thompson, and Morgan Williams are the guys. And then obviously you've got the lone guys, Victor Gokares, Leo Ostigard, my player of the season for the Sky Blues. Ben Chief, who I believe we have to sign on a permanent basis, depending on certain criteria. And Sam McCullum, who's gone back to Norwich, although I think he'll be coming back. Matty James. Interesting look on who was let go. I mean, for me, like I said, I thought Max Biamu did well for us. Yes, he wasn't a proven goal scorer, but you know what? He put lift in. And we'll cover a separate episode on Max Biamu shortly. But let me go on to share the retained list now. 1 second, move that, and then just move it on. So here we have the list of guys that have been offered a new contract. Here we go. Let me just share that. Let me know if you can see that, Rich.
I can't see it on my screen, but I know.
1 second, I will bring that up again. Apologies for the technical glitch. Here we go. Can you see that now?
Yep.
So you've got Liam Kelly has been extended for another couple of years. You got Carl McFadzean. Yeah.
with that.
Who else have we got? Jody Jones, but I think that's basically because he's been injured and to help him get through. So I think that's another one, split opinion. And Dom Hyam. I'm surprised it's only a 1 year considering he's a young player. So not sure what's going on there. And then the last one that we've got is, well, not the last couple, we've got Ben Wilson, who myself, I'm not really sure about Ben Wilson because I thought we needed a top quality goalkeeper. Does that mean Morosi's leaving?
Morosi's still got a year left on his contract, I believe. I might be wrong.
Yeah, fair
That's
enough.
why I was quite surprised because I expect one of them to leave in the summer. So
yeah, no, that is true.
Obviously not going to be Wilson.
And then you got David Brumang and Jack Burrows and Johnny Ngudu. So I think Burrows made his appearance in the last game of the season. I haven't really seen Johnny Ngudu or David Brumang play. I don't know what your thoughts on that, Richard. I mean, did you see much of them? Not really sure they actually did much, but
I haven't seen that much of them, to be honest.
fair enough.
I think they've probably appeared for us. I think when we played the Villa youth team in the Youth Cup a couple of seasons ago, I think Jack Burrows was playing.
Yeah,
I think he did all right in that game, from what I remember.
No, that is fair enough. That's fair enough. So I reckon we still need a couple of signings, and I think someone was saying we need probably 6 or 7. Probably don't disagree with that, but it just depends on what budget Robbins has. I think if we dipping into the loan market again, I hope we can get Ostigard on a perm deal, as well as Matty James. I think they'd definitely be good. But it'd be interesting. So let's move on. And Rich really wanted to cover this, so I'm gonna throw it to Rich. So a tribute to our boy Maxime Biamou. He's been with us since 2017, since our League 2 days. Rich, do you want me to go straight into the facts, or how do you want to? Yeah, let's go.
I'll tell you what, the last podcast we did when we talked about who we wanted to keep and who we thought should leave, I actually came on. I was actually planning on saying we should keep Biamou, and then Adam made some very, very valid points. You showed me the list of statistics that I hadn't seen before, which made me think, was I being a bit too sentimental? Because it is one that splits opinion. But what I will say in Biamou's defence is sometimes stats don't lie, but they also don't always tell the full story. Because you can look at stats for assist, and they'll only give an assist to the last player to touch the ball before the scorer. But how many goals we scored that have come from Biamou's chasing? Brentford at home this season, he won as a penalty, and it was his chasing that led to Tyler Walker's goal. It was the own goal Middlesbrough we scored against Middlesbrough this season as well. It all comes from Biamou's chasing and work rate, but the stats won't say assists. So for them, so stats don't always tell the full picture. But whether it's the correct decision or not will come down to who Robin signs. Time will tell. And Robin hasn't let us down before. He's always been proven right. So.
Indeed. So I mean, let's go into the stats that you wanted me to share. So I'm gonna let you just talk through them quickly. So Biamou was signed from non-league Sutton United in 2017. So it's amazing to think that he made the step up. I didn't actually realize he came from non-league. So
non-league to League 2, and when I first saw him play, I thought this lad puts in a shift. Probably a decent squad player for League 2. Took him a while to get his first goal. His first league goal for the club took him till January. I think he scored one before that in the Checker trade. But McNulty scored 28 goals that season. I think between them they got 37. So when a strike partnership get 37 goals between them, it doesn't matter if one player is getting the majority of them goals.
No, that is true. Moving on, and I think you'll like this one. So Biamou's won the goal in the 6-2 defeat to Yeovil Town, won the club's goal of the season award for 2017-2018. I think I remember this goal because I couldn't believe we were getting battered by Yeovil Town at the time.
I missed that game actually. That game was it was just after my daughter had been born. It was the day we brought her home from the hospital, so I didn't go up that game. And I just remember turning the radio on, seeing we're 3-0 down within 15 minutes or something.
No, that's
probably a decent game, a good one to miss if there ever is a good one to miss. But obviously I wasn't there to see that wonder goal, but I've watched it plenty of times since. Absolute beauty.
Indeed, indeed. So moving on, I think you'll like this one. I think you were at the game anyway. So Biamu scored twice in the second leg of the 5-2 aggregate League Two playoff semi-final win against North County. Do you know what? We have to pay tribute to his overhead kick for the first goal.
Yeah.
That was just absolute class. And you know what? His second goal, for a second, I thought he was actually offside because I was watching it on Sky and I thought McNulty had run, obviously Biamu had run offside. So I thought, shit, he might be offside here. But you know what? He managed to pull it back and just dummy their player and put it into the back of the net. Absolutely legendary. Couldn't complain.
I mean, he did come good. I mean, most of his goals, I think he scored 9 goals that season, but I think a fair few of them came towards the end, in the business end of the season.
No, indeed. That
He's
was
definitely a player who did it when it mattered.
No, absolutely.
Played a vital role in our League Two promotion.
No, that is true. So moving on, then we've got, and this was interesting because he was injured for the majority of the 2018-2019 season with an ACL injury. I believe that was our first season back in League One, right?
Yes, so it was early in the season. I think it was a League Cup game where he got stretchered off. I think it was Oxford in the League Cup, but could be wrong on that. It might, but I know it was a midweek game. But yeah, he missed the season. But we know a bit about ACL injuries, or Coventry City do, because we've had enough players who have suffered with them.
Yeah, crikey.
And you know what it takes to come back from one. And just over a year later, he came back and scored that scissor kick against Peterborough, which shows a guy's strength and his character.
No, absolutely.
And then scored a hat trick a few weeks later against Southampton under 21s. So it takes a lot to come back from that, and Biamu did. So
indeed. And then moving last but not least, so his 26 goals for the clubs have come in 7 different competitions, including 3 divisions of the Football League. And you know what? He might have not scored many in the Championship, but I'm glad to see that he was with us for our first season back up. I think it was just a case of a step up to class. But you know what? He's a good squad player, and he's a good player to have around, because I think a lot of the times we have, like you said, stats don't lie. But I think the fact is he's helped out a lot more than people probably acknowledge him for. Like the penalty, the goal against Norwich. I mean, just numerous times I remember Biamu putting his shift in. And I say if everyone has his work ethic, it'd be amazing. But Rich, I want to leave it with one point. And I know we talked about this because I saw your Twitter earlier, but I'm going to bring it up. Is Biamu considered a legend? That's what I want to talk to you about.
Definitely, if I'd been on a night out and I was in a pub with my mates chatting football, I've had a few drinks, I'd probably say yes, he is. Look at it constructively. It's depends how wide the range for using that word is. Because Grizovic is a legend, George Curtis is a legend, players who have played over 500 games for the club.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to call Biamu a legend, then you've got to call the likes of Shipley, Hyam, Liam Kelly legends as well.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I think you might remember this, but do you not remember when I said that I considered Mark McNulty a legend for what you'd done, and everyone was having a go at me because it was only over one season? Well, I said, mate, you can only do what you do as long as you're at the club for that length of period. The fact is, he left, I think, the season after. So, you know what? He put a shift in for us, and let's be honest. Since he left, he's not really had the success he's had. He's moved around. I think he went to Reading. Reading, it didn't work out from there. Then he went to Scotland. Then he went to, where did he go? Sunderland. Did he go Sunderland as well?
Yeah.
It didn't really work out. So you know what? All things work out in the end. I mean, I have to say, I loved him when he played for us, but the guy decided to choose to move on. So at the end of the day, that is that's his decision.
Biamu's definitely an icon. I wouldn't argue with anyone either way, whichever side of the argument you're on, whether he's a legend or not. I wouldn't argue against either, because I can see the point. I can see the point that he's not an Grizovic or George Curtis, who played was at the club for over 10 years. He's not a Robbie Keane who was world class, but I can also see the argument for him being a legend. He's helped us from League Two to the Championship. Been here 4 seasons, and amazing work ethic, fan favourite. So played at Wembley.
He did indeed. Yes, you know what, and absolutely, and you know what, it was an absolute pleasure to have him on board. Love the guy. He think he gave his all, and I wish him all the best for the future. But you know what, guys, thank you very much for tuning in today to today's amazing podcast with myself and Rich.
We're going to mention the name change of the stadium.
Yes, Rich is indeed right. He is indeed right. So the last topic we've got is, as many of you are aware, or hopefully you should be aware, the Rico Arena is now the Coventry Building Society Arena. So that news was announced, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. I know we haven't touched upon it much, but I thought I'd just bring it up. So what are your thoughts on that, Rich?
Well, it's a mouthful in. I'm used to saying, "Oh yeah, you're coming up the Rico Saturday," and it's going to be you're coming up the Building Society Saturday. It's the Coventry Building Society Saturday. It's going to be a bit of a mouthful, but I'm guessing Coventry City going back to the Rico probably played a massive part in them getting this sponsorship deal.
Well, at least it starts with Coventry. That's a good start.
Yeah.
The Coventry Arena. You can just call it Coventry Arena.
Right. Because I'm sure if we were still at St Andrews, would Coventry Building Society have still been as keen on sponsoring the stadium if it was just a Wasps playing there?
No, I don't think so. But you know,
they're going to get the name about now. Every time there's a goal there, or on Soccer Saturday, you'll have Jeff Stelling saying, or does he still present it?
Yeah, he does.
You have him saying, "Goal to tell you about up the
Coventry
Building Society Arena."
Yeah, it is a mouthful when you think about it, but you know what? It's good. It'll be interesting to know if they rename the seats, because I know it says Rico on half the side of it. So it'll be interesting to see if that gets renamed or how they're going to do that. But
we'll have to.
Yeah,
for sponsorship reasons, they'll have to, because they've probably paid a lot of money to have the name plastered everywhere. So
yeah, exactly. They wouldn't leave it the same, but you know what? It should be interesting.
As long as the seats are still sky blue.
Indeed. And as you put it on Twitter, going up the Building Society, it's like let's see how much we can withdraw, or Mark Robbins can withdraw from the opposition's account.
I think there'll be plenty of interest. Interest will be high.
It will indeed. But you know what? As always, thank you very much for joining us on today's episode. Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment below. And until next time, take it easy, guys. See you soon.
Okay, play up Sky Blues.